Hello everyone, welcome to Fubl Games. We are doing a review for Hell in a Cell 2020 by WWE pay-per-view. So the first match was Roman Reigns versus one of the Usos brothers in a Hell in a Cell I Quit match. That match, I'm going to say, was boring. Either one of them spent half of the match on their back in the middle of the ring. So just to clarify, this is my first WWE pay-per-view since 2007, 2006. So I'm not really too familiar with the entire roster anymore. I'm not sure of who's who. I just know Roman Reigns, a couple of the other guys. I know Roman Reigns is not the most liked guy around, especially by the fan base. But so I remember the old Hell in Cell matches. They would be, and I'm going to compare it to them, is there'd be about 5 to 10 minutes of each of the guys beating the hell out of each other, and then each one would get a chance to do their finishers. Then they'd go back to beating each other up for a couple minutes, and then suddenly one of them would get the upper hand, quote unquote, and win. This one was basically one guy was on his back for 90 minutes or 90% of the match. Then the other one would be on his back for the other 10%. It was boring. It was horrible. It really was a really crap match. And they spent more time asking the person if they wanted to quit than they did in actually engaging each other. So I'm going to just say it. Horrible match. The next match was Jeff Hardy versus Elias. I'm just going to say this was bad booking. You have Jeff Hardy, who is a high flyer, high risk guy, versus, as again, I don't know the roster that well. Elias came off as a normal kind of... he came off as a middle card guy to me, but I might be just totally missing out on it. He came off as like a typical Vince McMahon guy, though. So it was another, I thought, bad match. I just thought it was terrible booking. Hardy needs... the Hardys always have needed somebody who could match them in intensity. That's why the era of the Hardys versus Edge and Christian were great. Plus the bad blood in the backstage, but let's not go into that. But they put on good matches. The Hardys, Dudley Boys, good matches. They need somebody who can match their intensity. And I just felt it was a waste of a match and might as well have not meant anything. Alright, next match. Otis versus Miz. As I said, not familiar with the roster. Otis comes off and just lead up and everything. You gotta remember, this is my first time watching WWE in 13 to 15 years. Okay? He comes off as just a buffoon. I want to place him in the mid-90s, right as the Monday Night Wars. He would fit in perfectly with that Raw. The Miz has been around forever. I remember The Miz from back in his MTV days on Real World. So, I've known about The Miz for a very long time. He's actually shown improvements from when I caught glimpses of him when he first came in, where he was a little rough around the edges. Actually, really rough around the edges. This was probably more shocking of what happened in the match, but I'm not going to go... It's setting up storylines. Let's be honest, WWE was never going to give Otis a title shot. Pure and simple. There was no storyline. It was a joke to them. He was a joke to them, and if I was Otis, I would actually be mad at WWE because of how they booked this match, or how they're going to book him in the future. Because let's be honest, it's a joke. He was a joke. He's the punchline. Alright, so it was an average but decent match. So we go into probably the best match out of the night, Bayley versus Sasha. But the problem with this match is we've seen it before. I know that these two have faced multiple times. They keep switching who's going to be the heel, who's going to be the baby face, but both of them, they have great chemistry in the ring, out of the ring. They both know how to make each other work at a new level, and it definitely shows. So I'm going to say this was the best match of the night. It probably could have been better. And at the end, I'm going to go over on what I think could make all of these matches better. Because I saw one common theme. And I want to go, because it's hard to say on each of these matches why, and then repeating myself multiple times. But great match, and it should have been, it honestly couldn't have gone any longer. If it had gone any longer, it would have probably totally ran out of steam, and it probably did towards the end a little bit. So sorry about that. So next match, you know what? It was supposed to be a squash match, and I actually liked what I saw. I wish this match had gone longer. I don't know why. I remember when Bobby Lashley first came into WWE, I remember the pushes he got, and then he always hit like this peak, and then something would happen. I know that there was injuries and other things, and he went over to other promotions, MMA, did well there, came back now. But I started to like this match. I don't know why. It just, you know what it was? There's a storyline, but there's no storyline between these guys. It was really, Bobby Lashley picked a guy out of the Retribution, turned out to be Slapjack. There's nothing there, but they created something there, and it showed in the ring. And I really thought it could have been a better match. It could have been a better match, but it was a good match. It's hard to say because it was supposed to be a squash match. Lashley's supposed to just destroy him, and he kind of did, but he at least let Slapjack actually show off something. So I'm going to give it as a decent to good match. Then the last match was McIntyre versus Orton. Okay, so with this match, it was good. It tried to stay busy, but I think it failed on some aspects of it. There was definitely some dead air. Where they're both hanging off the off the ring, I felt it was just like them both taking a break. And when you see if you haven't watched the match yet, they're both on the outside of the ring, basically catching their breath on the side of the ring, just kind of slapping each other on the shoulder and saying, "Good job, good job." They do drop McIntyre off the ring, but it was kind of it was good, but it could have been better. I'm not expecting the Undertaker Mankind match. That's not going to happen in today's WWE, but it could have been better. I don't know how it could have been better. And I might go over yeah. So it was good. So I'm gonna say there was 3 good matches, 1 average match, and 2 horrible matches. The first 2 were the horribles, or not horrible. let me make that. Let me clear that up a little bit. So there was one great match, 2 good matches, an average match, 1 bad match, and 1 match that was a crime against humanity. Going on my rating scale. So the good match, or the great match, was the Bayley versus Sasha. The good matches I'm going to give to Bobby Lashley versus Slapjack and McIntyre versus Orton. The average was going to be Otis versus Miz, and it could have been better, but I'm going to say it could have been worse. Jeff Hardy versus Elias was just a bad match from all over, from a pure booking standpoint. And then Reigns versus Uso was just horrible, and it should be a crime against humanity to even watch that match. So I did have a problem with almost every single one of these matches, and that is the wrestler's stamina. I know I've seen it before, and as some wrestlers have gotten aged, you start to see it where, like, especially in these high threat matches, which I'll say like a Royal Rumble, Hell in a Cell, anything where there's a high level of intensity that can be done, some wrestler will somehow sit a good amount of the match out, saving himself, whatever, conserving energy. But in these matches, there should have been more action, more. I mean, Reigns versus Uso. Those guys have no stamina. If you were to look at that match, the old Hell in a Cell matches, the old I Quit matches, you beat the crap out of each other. These guys would, like, hit each other with one thing, and they'd be like, "Do you quit?" No. And it was a joke, in my opinion. You'd have guys to put, their submissions or do like 3 of their finishers on them, and then ask them to quit, and it'd be like, no. It was just bad. It was just really bad. And I just feel like through this entire pay-per-view, I saw it in almost all the matches where there was just dead air, is what I would like to call it, which was time when there was nothing going on. I mean, I cut some of the storylines going into it, on the recap shows and stuff like that. And so Reigns versus Uso, yeah, that makes sense. Family, blah, blah, blah. Jeff Hardy versus Elias reminded me of Kane and Jericho over the spilled coffee. Or who ran over Stone Cold Steve Austin, or it was somebody, and it turned out to be Rikishi like 5 years later. Money in the Bank contract, that had to change. Bayley versus Sasha. Yes, these two are great. They push each other to the edge of their abilities. But we've seen it. It's not that it's old. It's not that it's exciting. They need to do something where these two women who are great at what they do need each other, but they also need to expand and be able to raise themselves on their own. The Bobby Lashley versus Slapjack, I would have liked to see more. I don't know why. I thought it was a great it was a squash match, but it also was like Lashley allowing this other guy to kind of come in, show what he could semi-do, and let it be done. And then the Orton versus McIntyre, yeah. There was a lot of dead air, like when they're hanging on the side of the cage. It was almost like they were clipped on and just chilling there, slapping each other on the back. And it was, even when they were on top of the cage, it was the same thing. It was dead air. They like did 1 or 2 things on the top of the cage, and it was like, ugh. Come on, guys. I know these guys are in their peak prime physical shape, but it feels like they're all muscle, no stamina. A lot of these guys are taking just too long of a breather. So that's my opinion. I'm gonna write this down as probably a 55 out of 100 on my scale, which would put it as a good, maybe. So great. Nope, it's gonna be average. It's gonna be average. Sorry. 55 out of 100 is average on my scorecard. Like I said, Bobby Lashley versus Slapjack, a longer match. I would have loved to see. Just the singles. Don't bring out Lashley stable. Don't bring out Retribution. Just let the guys go at it. See what Slapjack's all about. I saw some hints of something there, and I don't know why I enjoyed it so much. Bayley versus Sasha, great match again. But everything else, McIntyre versus Orton, like I said, a lot of dead air. So that's where we stand. 55 out of 100 puts it as an average pay-per-view. Booking needs to get better. Storylines need to get better. Just they need a better product. I was talking to one of my friends, and I said it feels like WWE has regressed back to pre or early Monday Night Wars, and that's where we're at. And I know as somebody who's just getting back into it, I don't know what's really going on, but it feels like with no competition, even with AEW out there, they don't have anything that's pushing them. All right, guys, this video, just a review of Hell in a Cell 2020. You guys have a great night, great day, whatever, when I schedule this to go live. Don't forget to hit the wonderful subscribe button and notifications for when I do go live or post a new video. Thank you. Have a great night.